RV parks are sold on a cap rate, which means the price that you paid for the park is based on your net operating income. You're not looking to invest with them. They just need to be confident that you aren't wasting their time. And one of the best ways to do this is to not waste their time. It's not a highly sought after property. They might be willing to split it since they've been sitting there and something's better than nothing. On today's episode, I'm going to be answering questions that you have posted all across my social media channels as it relates to RV parks. If we haven't met before, my name's Heather Blankenship and I've been investing in real estate for over a decade. I own RV parks, mobile home parks, Section 8 multifamily, and I even bought a boutique motel. So let's jump right in. The first question comes from Michelle and she says, what's the difference with long-term and seasonal RV parks? How do you pay the bills of your campground if it's closed for 6 to 8 months due to the weather? This is a really great question that I get often, and I'll answer it in a couple ways. First of all, RV parks are sold on a cap rate, which means the price that you paid for the park is based on your net operating income. The net operating income is what's left over after you've paid all of your bills. Instead of being priced like a single family home or an Airbnb that's priced on the price per square foot. So what that means is the price that you pay for the park, it's already been accommodated that it's only open for 6 to 8 months. Besides the fact that the purchase price is going to reflect how long the property is open, you also need to budget accordingly. If you are closed for a portion of the year, that probably means that a lot of your expenses are going to be higher during those in-season months. Sure, you're still going to have overhead, which is things like your taxes, your insurance, and your mortgage, but the other things should drop dramatically during the months that you're closed. So you're going to write out a budget and you're going to figure out the bare minimum amount of money that you need to operate through those off months and make sure that you are saving accordingly during the in-season months when the cash is flowing and you're taking in really great income. It's literally just a matter of budgeting. Next question comes from Daniel and he says, when contacting a broker, is it advisable to inform them that you're an accredited investor or not? And to relay your background in investing, even if it's not in the same asset class you're currently pursuing. Daniel, they're really not going to care that you're an accredited investor. You're not looking to invest with them. They just need to be confident that you aren't wasting their time. And one of the best ways to do this is to not waste their time. So they don't need to hear your entire life story. They just need to be convinced that you're actually going to close on a property that you're calling them about. Some of the ways that you can do this is oftentimes when you're looking at an RV park that might be on the market, there's going to be an OM, an offering memorandum, that's usually available on a website like Crexy or LoopNet. You can sign a non-disclosure and download that information, and it's going to give you access to all kinds of data about the park. Oftentimes it even gives you access to the financials. The brokers put a lot of time into putting all the information you need in those documents. So one of the quickest ways a broker knows that you haven't done your homework and that you're wasting their time is for you to call and ask simple questions that were already available in that offering memorandum. So the best piece of advice that I can give to you is make sure that you have reviewed all of the data available to you before you call and ask them questions. Next question. I'm considering a mobile home park instead of an RV park for lower maintenance and because it's more passive. Is a turnkey mobile home park that requires minimum renovations or a mobile home park that requires tremendous renovations recommended for a new investor? Any advice is welcome. Okay, everyone, let's talk about this a couple ways. It really depends on what your goals are because both can be really great options. Depending on what your goal is, you're gonna have a lot different answers. But if you're looking for cash flow, any type of asset class, buying a turnkey property is not gonna give you the highest amount of cash flow. It can still give you really great tax benefits and it can potentially still appreciate depending on the market. It's not gonna be the best cash flow option because the person has already renovated it. In theory, they're already renting it at market rates. So the price you're paying for it is the top dollar. And depending on the type of mobile home park you're buying, you could be competing with institutional buyers who typically get debt a lot cheaper than a normal person like you or I do, which means there's not going to be a lot of cash left over. They've also already gotten the appreciation, so you're going to get a lot slower appreciation than if you bought something that needed to be renovated. There's pros and cons to both sides. If you buy something that needs to be renovated, you are going to have to put the time, effort, and money into renovating that. But it gives you the potential for higher cash flow, better appreciation, and still some great tax benefits. So only you know what the perfect answer is for your situation. The next question comes from Stephanie. When looking at campgrounds that are for sale, do you typically get your own realtor to represent you, or do you just contact the seller's agent? This is a really great question, Stephanie. RV parks are commercial real estate, so they work a little bit differently. You can definitely have your own agent, but it is not uncommon in our industry for you to have to pay your agent. The seller's agent may not be willing to split that fee. Now, if it's been on the market for a while and it's not a highly sought after property, they might be willing to split it since they've been sitting there and something's better than nothing. That's gonna be situational for different parks. However, a lot of people do not use a buyer's agent in this industry. If you are new to it, I do not recommend going at it alone. We also don't use standard state documents. You aren't gonna use the same type of document that you might use to write an offer or close on a home that you would in an RV park. We use something called an LOI, a letter of intent. Now, this is a non-binding document with the purpose to spell out the parameters that you're agreeing upon to move to the next step. The LOI is going to include things like the price that you're willing to pay, how long of due diligence period you need, what's the closing period, and any other parameters that you would want agreed upon before you spent money with an attorney to create a PSA. A purchase and sell agreement. Again, not something you're gonna wanna go out alone. You're gonna need an attorney for this step of the process. So whether you choose to have an agent or not is totally up to you, but you definitely don't wanna do this without an attorney. If you found today valuable, make sure that you like and subscribe below. If you have any questions for me, leave them in the comments and I'll talk to you next time.